just in the last few minutes. In a statement, her spokesman, Lord Bell, said it is with great sadness that Mark and Carol Thatcher announced their mother, Baroness Thatcher, died peacefully following a stroke this morning. Lady Thatcher became Prime Minister in 1979. She left office 11 years later after 3 successive general election victories, and the UK was transformed beyond recognition. Our political editor, Nick Robinson, looks back at her life. We should warn you this report does contain some flash photography.
Loved, loathed, never ignored. For a generation, Margaret Thatcher defined leadership. Around the world, she was Britain. At home, she divided a nation. If all Margaret Thatcher had done was to reach number 10, she was guaranteed a place in history as the first and so far the last woman Prime Minister.
Where there is discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is error, may we bring truth. Where there is doubt, may we bring faith.
She did, though, much more than that, rarely if ever creating harmony, but transforming Britain, driven by faith in herself and her ideas. Inspired by her beloved father, Margaret had to fight to get on in a man's world, to get elected to Parliament, to unseat her party leader, Edward Heath, to reach a job even she once thought unobtainable.
I don't think that there will be a woman Prime Minister in my lifetime.
If it hadn't been for the winter of discontent, a series of strikes that left rubbish on the streets and the dead unburied, she might well have been right. This was the era of the so-called British disease. Overmighty unions were enemy number one for Margaret Thatcher. This was an era in which governments still owned companies that made cars and sold petrol, that provided phones and gas, electricity and water. The Thatcherite cure, anti-union laws, high interest rates, soaring unemployment, split even her first cabinet. It drove thousands onto the streets in protest. And it led to inner-city rioting unseen before in mainland Britain. Calls mounted for the Prime Minister to change course.
You turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
That resolve was put to the test in 1982, when the Argentine flag was raised on British territory, the Falkland Islands. Against all advice, Margaret Thatcher sent a task force 8,000 miles to the South Atlantic and launched a risky and controversial war.
Just rejoice at that news and congratulate our forces and the Marines.
Hundreds of lives were lost, but victory was secured. The nation celebrated the success of its armed forces and the woman who'd ordered them into battle, who went on to secure a landslide victory at the election which followed. Mrs. Thatcher's second term in office took her into battle at home. It was with those she dubbed the enemy within, the powerful miners' union and its leader, Arthur Scargill.
We'll roll back the years of Thatcherism!
The confrontation between police and strikers left communities scarred, the union defeated, and everyone clear who was running the country.
There had been neither freedom nor order in Britain if we'd given into violence. There had been no hope for any prosperous industry.
And this was her answer to the threat from without. American cruise missiles based on British soil to threaten the Soviet Union with mutually assured destruction. MAD summed up the view of thousands of women who encircled the US base at Greenland Common to protest at a policy of nuclear confrontation. Together, American President Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher confronted what he dubbed the evil empire, while she wooed the Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev, who went on to dismantle communism to end the Cold War with the Iron Lady able to claim victory. None of it might have happened if the IRA had hit their target in 1984, when a bomb ripped through the Tories' conference hotel. The next day, the Prime Minister led tributes to the dead and the injured, but insisted the show went on.
And the fact that we are gathered here now, shocked but composed and determined, is a sign not only that this attack has failed,